Hello and welcome to Baby Got Books, the podcast where we like big books and we cannot lie. I'm Jasmine.
I'm Crystal.
Penny.
And we're joined by a very special guest. Charlotte Paradise is on the pod. Say hi to our audience, Charlotte.
Hi guys.
Books, baby got books.
We are so happy to have you. This is like the first time we've actually we've followed each other online for so long. I feel like we've never actually had a conversation. Other than in each other's comments.
I honestly feel like I know you all from your iconic.
Oh, I love that. I do feel like that's happening more and more. Like I'll go to book events and I get asked about you too. Because
Nice.
That's cute. Who'd have thought?
Community of the Traveling podcast. I think that's
Absolutely.
beautiful.
Oh gosh, don't get me started on the Sisterhood of Traveling Pants.
Oh my god.
Those are so good.
It's such a good film series.
Every time, okay, I will get back to the podcast for a sec, but every time I think of that book, I get like a little pang of guilt because it's the one book I borrowed from a library as a kid and never returned. And I can still see where it is on my parents' shelf. And I like it. So every time I think of it, it triggers me.
You better.
It's too late now.
Diabolical. Go back to that library right now.
Go and apologize.
Send it back.
Okay, back to podcasts. Sorry. Anyway, let me intro Charlotte. So, Charlotte Paradise is a screenwriter and author who released her debut novel Overspill last year. As a chronically ill and disabled writer, Charlotte uses her online platform to share her journey, her art, and her fantastic film cross stitches, which we will talk more about later because I personally love them. In light of the approaching paperback release of Overspill, Charlotte joins us to discuss the book and the story of Sara, a young woman living in London who's dealing with vaginismus and sexual-related trauma, but is also opening her heart and attempting to also open up her body to Miles, a man with whom she wants to explore a relationship with. Just a small trigger warning before we start. While discussing Overspill, we will be exploring its subject matter, which involves sensitive topics that you may find triggering, including sexual assault and the trauma surrounding it. We are going to address them sensitively, but just want to put that out there just in case you're not in a space to talk, listen to it. Okay, so before we properly get into the book, we like to get to know our guests with a random non-bookish question. So, Charlotte, what is the last thing that made you laugh?
Honestly, Yerin Ha and Luke Thompson. No,
Oh, yes.
Love that.
Guys. But I know that the Bridgerton press is done, but I am still so obsessed with the two of them, and I keep getting edits of their press and them. They sound like, there was this one video and they sound like teapots.
Kettle sound effects.
It's just them laughing.
Old school teapots that make
Yeah.
They sound like that together is absolutely adorable and very funny.
To be fair, I have been loving all their press. I feel like I saw more of their press after the season was out than I did when the season was coming out.
That's when it started. I kind of feel like they were right for that though. It's like,
continue
about Bridgerton. Lock back in.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great time.
I love that. They've been on a good run social-wise recently. I mean, they just released season 5 teaser.
Oh my god, yeah.
I'm so excited.
I am so excited.
Huge
I know,
news.
I know a lot of book purists. I'm sorry to them. I know a lot of book purists are mad because they're doing Francesca before they're doing Eloise. But personally, and sorry to Eloise, it's nothing to do with the actress. It's to do with what she's been given in the show. She wasn't given anything this season. I was ready for Francesca.
Yeah.
Also, just to say, Francesca and Eloise's love stories in the books actually do happen at the same time. So even if it wasn't in that order, and also, was there this much uproar for the fact that they did Colin and Penelope?
No one cared.
And let's record show. That was a bad decision. That one completely messed up the whole timeline of the show.
Yeah.
So,
Charlotte Ennie is our resident Bridgerton expert because she read all the books long before the series was even a concept. And she
many moons ago.
I remember you when they switched it being like, how is this going to work? It makes no sense for Benedict's story.
It made no sense for anyone's story because it was meant to happen after an 8-year time jump. So everybody was meant to be way older
Oh,
that would make more sense because I feel like the
Okay.
whole his name is Colin, isn't it? Yeah, I feel like it was
Yeah.
like, oh, Colin came back, changed, and that would have made more sense after an 8-year time.
Yeah.
He was
It-
literally traveling like
true.
for years, like years went by.
Yeah,
And
because the
also
way
it's
they
like
did it was like he was gone for like a
Eloise-
summer, like
He was gone for a quick summer. Wasn't even a gap year.
And
it's
he
like,
came back and he was still winking awkwardly at women.
yeah.
like, can we give him like any time to cook? Like the character development didn't happen.
Yeah.
And Eloise and Penelope went to like they're meant to be spinsters. They're not like, oh my god, my second year on the marriage mark. They're like 10 years deep, completely like no
That makes so
chance of
much
getting
more
married.
sense.
And that's why both of their storylines make sense. Anyway, it's actually fine, guys. It's actually fine.
I do
Point
think
is,
at some point we should do a Bridgerton episode just because
We-
you know so
well,
much.
Can I come, please? Can I
Yes,
come back?
come back. Love it.
Because I'm obsessed and I
Mm-hmm.
love the majority of their changes. I read the books. I started reading the books after the TV show. So I was reading them just to like kind of know what
with
happened.
knowledge. Yeah.
And a lot of their changes are very good.
99% of them are fucking good. So there's some diabolical things in some of those books. So you're just like,
I'm scared. I feel like this is the reason I can't read the books.
Mm.
most of them are chill.
I don't believe you.
I just don't really. I'm not really into series, so that's
Yeah, you
nothing
have
to me.
beautiful
Yeah.
book series.
Yeah.
I actually do as well, actually.
Very much standalone or like duology, maybe.
That's
Something very chic about a duology.
Yeah, there is. Okay,
I'm a
back to the
serious
book.
person. Oh
Sorry.
yeah, sorry.
We've
Let's
strayed so
focus.
far from the light. How do we start?
I mean, we all do.
It
It made sense. It's fine. Let's start off. Okay,
Oh
so
gosh.
Charlotte, you shared in the past online that you got into publishing in a very non-traditional way. So I'd love you to share kind of your route from coming up with the idea of the book to getting Overspill published. What was that like for you?
Okay, so I was doing an MA in dramatic writing and I wrote a feature film script, which was the first full-length script that I'd ever written, and it was a rom-com, and it got scathing reviews. And it wasn't even good feedback, to be honest, because it was very biased, because they were just saying that they thought that I was trying to write something feminist, but that it actually wasn't. And I think that they totally misunderstood that feminism is my body, my choice.
Yeah.
This is a tangent, but I'm going with it. It was about a woman who was abstaining from sex for faith reasons. And they decided that it wasn't possible for it to be feminist for a woman to abstain for faith reasons, because it's technically a man telling her what to do because God is a man. Yes.
Right. Okay. Right.
Wow.
Many leaps have been taken.
Right. Yeah.
Many leaps. And there were the two people that marked it both said that. That aside,
2 people said that for free of their own free will.
yeah, they did. And even though I knew that that was just outrageous feedback and actually had nothing to do with the script or my writing, it still just knocked me. And then at the same time I was going through a breakup, and at the same time I was moving out of my hometown, and at the same time my health was flaring. It just was a tough time. And I went to the cinema and I saw Little Women at Christmas, and Greta Gerwig healed my soul and reminded me of my absolute dream to publish a book that I've had since I was very, 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 very little. And I decided that it would somehow be easier to write my first novel than another script. So I deluded myself into writing my first book. I got a third of the way through that, and then the global pandemic happened and loads of stuff happened in my own personal life. And as we mentioned at the beginning of this, Overspill deals with some tough topics, and it all just got a bit heavy. So I actually took a 13-month break from it, and I went about piecing my life together. And just as I was starting to think, you know what, I think it's time to go back to the story that I'm really passionate about, that I want to create representation for, and to these characters that I've created real like fondness for. I saw a call out from HarperCollins, and they were looking for underrepresented and unagented voices. And they didn't say anything about needing you to have a full manuscript before you submit, which is usually the case. Obviously, when you're querying literary agents, they aren't interested at all unless you have a full manuscript that they can ask to read the whole of. But it didn't say anything like that. So I just went for it. And I thought, this is just an excuse to get back into the book. It's not going to come of anything, but it's going to mean I can dip my toes back in and get back to writing. And so I sent off a synopsis, 3 chapters, and a cover letter. And then 4 months later, I got an email from a commissioning editor saying, have you got any more? I was like, sorry, what? In my inbox, I was freaking out. Lots of screaming happening. And I said, well, I've just started writing again. And she was like, okay, well, we're actually really interested. And we would love some more chapters and a longer synopsis. So I wrote an 8-page synopsis. I was already I'd really planned it out already.
Oh,
so whereas lately I've been trying to write a bit more like going with the flow, that book was very much planned out. And so I padded that out to 8 pages. And then I was writing more. So I was writing in the middle of the book. And everybody knows what happens in the middle of a book when it's about a relationship. It's time to have sex. And so someone tell me where I got the balls to send HarperCollins sex scenes to sell them my book.
These are the things they don't talk about.
I literally look back on it and I'm like, what was I doing? A risk paid off because she took those chapters to an acquisition meeting and I got a deal before I'd written the book. I had half of a very messy draft.
That's amazing.
It's
I'm just imagining all these people in the very serious business acquisition meeting just kind of paging through your sex scenes. Being like, yeah.
She might
This
not
is stuff.
might just not have included it.
No.
When I was editing it, she was like, great, this had me blushing on the tube. We love to hear it. But it's like 4 pages too long. Because it was long. I was just like yearning so much.
Yeah, it's built up.
It's got to explode.
Good choice.
So Overspill in general explores this like quite, I don't want to say rocky, it's not rocky, but quite like a tender like relationship between Sara and Miles that kind of goes, because Sara is dealing with a lot of, as we discussed, like very sensitive and serious things. How did you go about exploring these topics?
I think that the key for me is that I really wanted to represent the experience of having complex PTSD and vaginismus and anxiety around relationships and sexual romantic touch in a way that was very sensitive and also very nuanced. I think sometimes we have an idea, maybe because of what we've been shown in media, of what that looks like. I think a lot of the time as well, we see people who have had sexual trauma have, which is a very valid and very common response, to kind of be very sexually active or like party a lot, but not so much the equally valid response of restricting your experience in those spaces. So not drinking because of being scared of being out of control. And so I wanted to represent that, but I also wanted to represent that there's a vast spectrum of experiences within someone living with these things. So that includes desire, even though that's complicated, joy, ambition, deep anxiety and fear, low mood, high mood, all of it. And I think that my exploration of that in the book and my experience of writing it was very full of all of those things as well. And like I said, I took a 13-month break because it was tough. And in those 13 months, I had to learn a lot of tools of what I call trauma-informed writing. So there's like trauma-informed therapy, but I've kind of found ways of doing trauma-informed writing. So having certain like tools in my toolbox, like making sure I set timers, and every time the alarm went off, I had to ground myself and ask if I was really ready to be writing anymore. Separation between me and the work, things like very practical things like using headphones when I was working and making sure that I took them off in my breaks, and having playlists and mood boards and all that kind of thing. So yeah, explored these themes very carefully and very kindly, which is kind of the vibe that I want readers to have. Like, you're reading things that aren't necessarily easy, but there is romance in there, and it feels like someone's holding your hand, or like a friend is walking you through it. And I had to be that for myself when I was writing it.
Yeah.
I think that's really lovely, because like, obviously it's quite a heartbreaking book, and it's definitely quite like a serious read, but there are moments of levity, and I feel like it ends on quite a hopeful note, which is quite nice. But I hadn't really thought that much about kind of you and your own mental capacity while writing it. It's good to know that you had these things like to help
Create
balance
like a
out
separate
throughout.
space for it is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. In terms of your writing process, you've been really open online about your experience being both chronically ill and disabled. And you've kind of shared how that affects your writing journey with your like exhausted editing and exhausted writing series on like TikTok and Instagram. Would you mind sharing more about how it affects your process? Like, what have you found helps you, and how do you think you could be better supported in the writing world?
Ooh, how can I be better supported?
I'm sure there's many ways.
Okay, let me start at the beginning. My disability and my chronic illnesses affect absolutely everything about my life. From my water intake, like I literally wake up in the morning and it's like, okay, well, we're having to assess what I'm able to do. How many times can I brush my teeth today, kind of vibe. It also impacts my ability to communicate, and then obviously to work and to create. And so it's funny because I've had people say that the book, The Overspill, feels really quite blunt about the body. And that wasn't actually something that I necessarily was very conscious of doing. But I think because in my own life, I have to communicate to other people so bluntly about what's happening with my body on a daily basis, that it translated into my writing. And that's just one of those examples of how it affects every part of my life. So it affects not just how I write, but what I write. Things that help me being a chronically ill and physically disabled writer range from emotional support to my armrests, which are the loves of my life. Literally, couldn't write without them. They clip on the edge of my desk and they hold up my arms, and they mean that I can write much longer. And my medication means that I can sit at my desk and I can write for longer than I was able to 2 years ago when I wasn't on that medication. The biggest advice I can give that isn't just linked to writing, but just general, I guess, chronic illness and disability life is, it's really, 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 really hard to advocate for yourself, especially when there's so much gaslighting that happens with invisible conditions. But when you have the tools and you have the access and you have the medication that you need, everything can be relieved a bit. And it shouldn't be that we have to fight for it. But just because that's the reality doesn't mean that we shouldn't. So you're going to need people around you to help catch you, because having to fight is exhausting in itself when you're fighting because you're exhausted. And then on how the writing world or the publishing world can support disabled authors and chronically ill authors, I could give a really long answer on this, but I'm just going to give one thing, and that is access riders need to be non-negotiable, and they need to be expected. And I actually think that access riders shouldn't just be for chronically ill people or disabled people, because I think that a lot of writers have certain needs that should be met and should want to be met by publishers. But where we're at now is publishers are even just like, what's an access rider?
Yeah.
And it's
For the audience,
2026, guys.
for the audience that doesn't know, would you explain what an access
What
rider
is it? Okay, yeah. So what it is a document that is written by the disabled person with a list of requirements that they need to be met in order for them to be able to do the work. So the very basic level things that mean that they can work. When it comes to the publicity and the marketing stage of publishing a book, that can mean that bookshops that you speak at have to be wheelchair accessible, for example. It can also mean in the editing process, there are really clear deadlines that are met. And as we know, the industry, it's difficult for deadlines to be met. But in the case that deadlines can't be met, that should be communicated rather than the date come and go, for example. Because people with neurodivergence, they need to know for that side of things. But also people who are physically disabled and chronically ill, you need to know, because me, for example, I plan everything around my work. I have to plan for people to clean my flat, for people to feed me when I'm on deadline. And I need to know that deadline is coming and that those notes are going to come at a certain time. So that's just some examples of what could be on an access rider.
It makes a lot of
That makes a lot of
sense.
sense. There's like in kind of corporate places, they have like workplace passports, and it's such a thing of like, even though it's been years of having things in place and being like, oh, we want to like listen, we want to learn, people like still don't actually deliver on them, and they're still kind of like, oh, a workplace like, oh, what requirements, like what, like, and it's like, it's not that hard to imagine. It's also not that hard to just actually do the things. Like, people kind of, I think, overcomplicate what it looks like to offer support to people, and it's like, you can just ask and they will tell you, and that should be all it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree.
Also, so you screenwrite as well, as we've spoken about. I've seen a lot of promotion online of you promoting your film about loneliness. I'd love to hear more about it.
Yeah, thank you for asking. We are currently crowdfunding to shoot a film called Scenes, which I wrote a few years ago. And it's about a lonely sewist who becomes obsessed with one of her clients, who she believes is sending her distress signals through clothing. Combines on some of my favorite themes: loneliness, sewing, and obsession. So if you like sad, lonely films like All of Us Strangers and After Sun and the Normal People TV show, but also the tension and the thrilling obsession of something like Tar, then that's what we are gonna shoot. Yeah, we have an amazing team of female filmmakers and a great cast that we are yet to announce, that I am so excited about. And I think it's going to be really beautiful, and I'm really confident in the team. And yeah,
that sounds so cool.
Where are you crowdfunding for it? Just so we can let people.
Oh yeah, shout it out.
Yeah,
we have a TikTok page called Scenes Short Film, and the link is also in my bios on my TikTok, which is Charlotte Paradise Writes, and on Instagram, in all the places.
amazing.
The link is everywhere, guys.
That's cool.
Yeah,
go check it out, guys.
Yeah. And how do you find screenwriting in comparison to novel writing?
Yeah, it's quite different.
Ooh, they're so linked for me. They're so linked. I know it is different for some other writers who write across scripts, so who write for screen and who also write novels. This can be so different for them, I'm sure. But was not really any separation for me. obviously there has to be some, because I can't just write a script in a Word document, and I can't just write a novel in my screenwriting software. But I see everything when I'm writing. I write a book cinematically. So like I can see the cast, I can see the characters in Overspill. I can see it whilst I was writing it. Sometimes I find that I have to be like, okay, so you can't just show images. You're actually like, let's talk about what's going on in the character's head. And then sometimes when I'm writing scripts, I have to be like, the audience can't see what the character's thinking, Charlotte. Ideas always start for me visually. So it always comes from an image. I am on Pinterest immediately. The mood boards are long, they are extensive. And so also things like I've written a novel that I wrote originally as a TV pilot. And usually it's the other way around. And then also I've written scripts for Overspill.
So, okay. Ooh, I was going to ask about this. Like, when you get an idea, is it like, this is a script, this is a novel, or is it like, it's going to be both?
I really, really, really wish that it was that clear cut for me sometimes. And I sometimes feel like it would be more professional if it was. I don't know. I have this idea that like, I should just know what it is. But it takes me a little bit of figuring out. And also I want it to be all of them. But I'm so obsessed with adaptation. And I love novels just as much as I love TV and film, that even if a novel I wrote didn't become a TV show or didn't become a film, it still already is one because it exists in my head.
I love that.
Yeah. So sometimes I have ideas and I'm like, I wrote a short film for my friend who I'm making scenes with, and I sent it to her and I was like, what do you think? But I knew immediately when I sent it to her that it wasn't a short film, that it was a book, but I had to write a film version of the idea to realize that it was a whole novel, and then it was one chapter of something much, much bigger. Thankfully that hasn't happened the other way around, where I've written a whole novel.
Then just gone like, nah, never mind.
15 pages of script. No, we've not done that yet.
Would you give up on the novel, or would you just push through anyways?
Well, to be honest, I think if I've written a whole novel and not realized that it shouldn't be a novel by the time I got. Having said that, you do get to about 50,000 words. Well, it happens to me at 10,000 words, and then it happens to me again at like 35, and then it happens to me again at 50, and then a couple of 1,000 pages that I'm like, oh, I don't know that this should be a thing. This shouldn't be a thing. This is a thing. This shouldn't be a thing. But I would hope that I wouldn't get that far in without really shouldn't exist.
Yeah, I'd say I typically get there at like 10,000 and 30,000. And both of those chunks, I'm like, is this anything? This might not be anything. I've definitely abandoned projects at like 30, 40,000 words.
Yeah.
It's so hard. Like, that's so much work that you put in.
Yeah.
It's not meant to be.
I just finished a first draft of a novella.
Ooh, that's fun.
Novella sounds so fancy.
It does,
no,
every time.
There wasn't enough story to sustain a whole book.
Fair enough.
And it doesn't mean that all novellas are like that, and I do actually think that it will work as a good novella, but that's 30,000 words.
Oh, yeah.
And it just didn't have anything left in it. So
you know what?
That's fair. The story still needs to be told.
Yeah, right? Whether it wants to be something bigger and longer, and there's another like part of the book, and things can be fleshed out, or whether it's one of those gorgeous, slim, intense things, and that's just what it is.
Yeah,
I feel like we honestly need to have more space for things to be a little short. I think that's about movies, TV shows, books, loads of things. Like, not everything has to be a 3-hour movie. What if we didn't do that?
We're in a very maximalist world now, and I think it's really applied to movies, books, everything.
Yeah, but
these 2-hour plus Marvel films have set us off.
They did switch up the game for a bit. I feel like once Marvel started doing 2-3 hour films, everyone else followed suit, and for a while films were just far too long.
They don't need to be long just to be long, no. Like
A
quality.
lot of them were long
Yeah, I
just to be
agree.
long.
I agree. They were so drawn out. Like, yeah. It's
I'm
pretty
not
terrible.
naming any specific ones because I'll get in trouble. Come to mind.
I like it. Yeah.
Mm.
Charlotte, you are one of my favorite people to follow online because you are just like always creating. Like I find it so inspiring. Like you're always like between the screenplays, the films, the books, the novellas, the cross stitches, which we haven't even got into. If you don't follow Charlotte online, she makes cross stitches of her favorite scenes in films, and they are so
Ooh.
cool. Yeah.
That's it.
What are you currently working on? I know you mentioned a while ago you were working on a rom-com. Is that still the current project? What are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, so there are a couple of things that feel very live in my workbook at the moment. So I'm not really working on it, but it still feels like an open book. Oh, that's so cringe.
No, I love it.
I actually didn't realize.
It wasn't even intentional. It was just
Yeah.
natural. She's a writer.
Honestly,
I wrote a second novel, which really feels
Aw.
like my baby and feels like the thing that is the most me thing that I've ever written, which is historical fiction about a hysteria misdiagnosis in the 1850s.
Oh.
And it's like a darkly sexy, slightly gory tale of a wildly talented painter who is having a forbidden romance with her art teacher and is battling physical symptoms. And basically, I was watching the masterpiece that is The Portrait of a Lady on Fire. And I just asked myself, what would have happened if I were born with my conditions in the 1850s? And the idea was born. So that's on submission.
Oh, exciting. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Thank you. It's like a live wire in my life. So even though I'm not working on that because I've written it and I've edited it, it still has a lot of potential work to be done on it.
And just quickly for non-book people, on submission is when I do this too, so I have to check it. On submission is when you've written something, it's been handed over to your agent, and then your agent has sent it out to publishers and been like, does anyone want to buy this?
For being the dictionary for my silly words and not something. And then there's the novella I talked about. That's about a real life artist who lived through both world wars, and there are fairies in it. Also it's about a like therapy theory or a psychology theory called internal family systems, which is this idea that we're built up of lots of different parts, and the parts are represented in lots of different fairies. So it's a weird random little thing.
That's so fun.
Thanks. And then rom-coms. So the end of last year I was writing TV rom-coms, and they've also gone out into the world through my other agent, my screen agent. But it's about an it girl Hollywood director who is disabled, who comes to England to make a Jane Austen adaptation. And is determined that now is not the right time for her to fall in love, obviously, because she wants to prove herself in that industry. But her accessibility coordinator is hot. And
what's the girl to do?
Love this.
And it's like a queer workplace rom-com. I just think it's so fun.
That's so fun.
I love that.
So fun to write, so fun to edit. Yeah.
That sounds so fun. Yeah.
So it's very, very wide spectrum, honestly. It's like,
no, I love that. This is why I say like you are so fun to follow online, because like it's that you're doing different things, but they're all like
you don't know what you're gonna get
in one box.
Yeah. That's me.
How did you get into the cross stitches?
I knew that I needed a hobby. That, as you can tell, my brain is very busy, and even after 11 years of chronic illness and like being forced to rest by my body, my mind goes like, if I find rest so hard. So I knew that I needed something that would make me sit still and not be my phone.
Fair
And I
enough.
saw it just came up online. Someone had done a cross stitch of a singer. I can't remember which singer it was, but I was like, oh, you can do that. And then I remembered cross stitching when I was younger, like at school.
Mm.
And I thought, well, I'm going to look into this. And I found a kit that was of a Klimt painting, The Kiss, and I did that. I didn't do any beginner stuff. I just threw my
jump right in.
Wait, Klimt?
the hardest kit I had. I was like, I'm going to rest by doing this. Productive. I found out that there are websites where you just put in a photo and it generates a chart of whatever you want. And I was like, Pride and Prejudice 2005.
Yeah.
And it snowballed from there, and now I've done 10.
Oh, nice.
That's so cool.
Do you display that?
No, I'm waiting to have the space. I want to put them in thin black frames that look like a cinema.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
There is one hanging there.
Oh,
That's the only one on display.
I love that.
Exciting.
I love the idea that you were like, I need to rest. Let me have a challenge. New challenge.
I became so strict in my pacing that I realized last year that actually it wasn't serving my mental health. So it might have been helping me physically because I was resting, but I was just going mad. And then the tension of that was making my body worse. And I've come to the conclusion that I'm just somebody that needs mental stimulation.
Fair enough. Yeah.
And a way to get it out. And so that's
That makes sense. I'm really similar. I can't rest by resting. I have to rest by doing something else that I deem as like not as hardcore as the thing I'm supposed to be resting from.
Yeah. I just had a strict boundary with myself where I was like, I'm not monetizing this.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
nice. Yeah.
And I've had some very, very sweet people be like, do you sell these? I need it.
Oh yeah, I've seen like your videos blow up.
Maybe I should.
I mean-
Yeah, you said not posting about it is already pushing the boundary.
Yeah, because that's going to be a whole other side hustle.
Yeah.
Let it just be for enjoyment for now.
Yeah.
For now. So on your love of film, you've spoken about how you're inspired to write again, like to write novels again because of Greta Gerwig's Little Women. What are some of your go-to comfort films? And were there any films that you found comfort in while writing Overspill?
Okay, so I've already mentioned Pride and Prejudice 2005.
Yes.
My go-to comfort films are period dramas. Just hands down. Escapism, the yearning, the tension that, like I said, I'm also obsessed with adaptation. So a lot of them are adaptations of classic novels, and I'm obsessed with 19th century novels. It's got everything that I need. And so my rotation is, as we said, Little Women, Pride and Prejudice 2005, Emma 2020.
Oh, Emma's good.
Far from the Madding Crowd.
Okay, I haven't seen
Underrated.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And Sense and Sensibility 1995.
Ooh, classic.
Yeah.
You really are a real period drama girly.
Yeah.
Oh, it's there were some films that I was watching for inspiration for Overspill that were more on the intense side of things, but I definitely needed the comfort of the total escapism of the period dramas that had nothing to do with Overspill. But also there were some films, there's a trilogy that I love that I really used to help infuse some of what I like to call Sara and Miles's philosophical existential chemistry. The conversations that they have, the way that they connect, is very, because they don't touch for quite a while. I think they really build on like an intellectual and an emotional intimacy. And it's the Before trilogy. So Before Sunrise, Before Sunset, Before Midnight, I think they called it.
Oh,
Have you seen this?
No.
Okay. They're set over like 12 hours, 24 hours. And two people meet on a train and they decide that they're going to get off in, I think it's Vienna together.
Oh.
And they spend.
Are they going to Vienna?
No, one of them
Oh.
was to catch a plane, I think, from there. But one of them just got off the plane she gets off the train with him. And they walk around and they have the most amazing conversations, and it's so good. I love them. Like I said, they're kind of very philosophical, very existential, and really comforting. They're like rom-coms, but like serious. If that makes sense.
Okay. They sound interesting. I'm gonna add them to. You've given me so many film recs.
Highly recommend Before Sunrise.
With Overspill, was there anything that was cut during the editing process or through your own edits that you wish had made it to the final cut?
There was so much that was cut. My first draft was 120,000 words, and it needed to be 85.
Oh,
That's half a book.
no.
So my first structural redraft, which means basically like the redraft where you're hacking at it, you're
Big
cutting
chunky
stuff.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big ones. We cut characters, we cut storylines.
Really?
Yeah, and all of it was absolutely the right decision because it made the heartbeat of the story the center. Like it took away all of the noise, which is exactly what needed to happen. So there isn't necessarily things that I wish had stayed in it, but I did decide on her job as an optician based on an experience I had, which is I went to an optician and I had just this bad experience with the secretary. She was then the receptionist. She just was giving off a really funny vibe. Okay. She was watching me like a hawk whilst I was walking around this shop choosing a pair of glasses. And I decided to go online and look at the reviews. I was not the only one. I'm telling you, this woman had some reviews that were unhinged.
Oh my God.
Like
Wow.
really funny, but really bad. And a lot of them were to do with, she would argue with people over the phone. She would just pick fights with people that rang in over the phone. And also, she was really, really unhappy that people were clearly doing a thing where they were taking pictures of the glasses that they liked and going somewhere else and buying them for less money.
Okay.
I understand is
Fair enough.
annoying. Doesn't everyone do that?
Yeah.
It's not like she's losing anything from people doing that. Like she doesn't know that they're not going to come back and buy them. You know, maybe they're just taking the pictures to send to friends.
Also, sometimes when I do buy glasses from the actual optician, I will send photos to people while I'm in the store just to be like, which
Exactly.
one?
Exactly.
But she's put up signs that say no photos allowed.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
This is unnecessary.
And so I wrote that into the manuscript. And my editor rightly was like, this is an ad.
That's so fun.
It's objectively funny.
But I did just, she's in the book. This isn't the actual woman saying, but in the book, she's called Christina. So she's still in the book, but she just plays a very, very minor role. And I think I describe her as being sharp or something like that. And I'm the only one that knows. And now everyone listening to this, you also know.
That's a whole. Everyone's opted into the Christina law.
Yeah.
She's a bit of a wild one.
If Overspill
Love
gets
this.
adapted, I think they should just add in Christina's storyline for fun.
Add it back in.
Truly. Let it play out in like the background of a scene and you can just see
Yeah,
people
just
fighting
arguing.
I'll fight for it, guys.
Gonna wrap up because we are getting towards the end and we still need to play a game. So a couple more questions
Yes.
for you. What is your favorite compliment or interpretation that you've received from a reader or you've seen online? I know we're not supposed to read reviews, but let's be real, everybody does at some point.
I have a friend, she's also an author, and we do this for each other. We call each other our Goodreads fairies.
Aww,
We'll go on for each other and send each other the good ones.
that's so cute.
Yeah, I
That's
would.
adorable, actually.
It's really sweet. We don't do that for each other anymore. We've kind of given up on that. But I have one serious one and one funny one. And the serious one is someone said that Overspill made them realize that there are some books that name a feeling for something you've lived your whole life not knowing how to describe.
Oh, that's lovely.
That's really
Yeah.
nice.
Which just made everything worth it. That was the whole reason I wanted to write it, and that one means a lot to me. And the other one is, this should have been a drinking game because the amount of times I've mentioned Pride and Prejudice is embarrassing. And anyone in my life is going to be like, it's not embarrassing, it's just expected at this point. But an author called Jessie Elland said that the yearning in it reminded her of the Mr. Darcy hand flex in Pride and Prejudice.
I mean, that's all you need.
Yeah.
It's one of your favorite movies.
I didn't even know that I was obsessed with that film. So,
That's a sign. That's
Yeah.
a sign. Mhm.
and that's on yearning.
I love that. We need more yearning, always.
We do, absolutely. As a society, bring back yearning. You did it. It's true.
Okay, finally, we'll give you a chance to promo your socials at the end of the episode. But is there anything else you want to plug to our audience before we play a game?
I should know this off the top of my head and just be like, bam, yes.
No, I'm so bad at it too.
I just love people to support Seams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
just
Go
get
check
involved.
out Seams. Yeah.
Check out
That's the one.
Seams. I've also written some other short films, one that you can watch on YouTube. It's called Chronicle.
Oh.
And it's a drama about two people who move in together and how they navigate a flare up of one of their chronic illnesses over their first weekend. And the other is called Sleepyhead, which I made with Disney. And I think that everyone should keep their eyes peeled on that social page.
Oh,
Oh.
what is the social page called? Don't be shy. Plug it properly.
Sleepyhead. Maybe? Again, I'm going to tell you. Okay.
Yes.
It is at sleepyhead_film.
Amazing.
Ooh.
And Chronic is at Chronic Film.
Okay. Time to play a game.
Ooh.
Okay, right. Competitive spirits.
Yeah. So we've been playing this with every author that has been on our podcast. It is called How Well Do You Know Your Main Character? We're going to give you a round of quick fire questions where you will have 90 seconds to answer to put yourself in Sara's shoes and answer as many hypotheticals as you can about her in 90 seconds. We are keeping a scoreboard. However, we have not started actually making the scoreboard yet, so I can't tell you who you're trying to beat. I believe you're trying to beat Georgia Stone at the moment. That may have changed. Yeah, but Georgia
She'd
Stone
be
really
Yeah.
bossed it.
Yeah.
Well done.
This is taking me back to that driving show. What was it called? Where they raced around the track.
Top Gear.
Formula One.
I'm actually a big F1 fan, which always surprises me. And surprises me too. But anyway, Top Gear, where they had the magnet whiteboard and they got celebrities on to do
Oh
tracks.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
Actually, what it is. We will share it to our socials.
We should do that.
Do it a green screen Top Gear. Can I have that?
Yes.
Are we ready?
Ready?
3,
Ella?
2, 1, go. What's her go-to coffee order?
She doesn't drink coffee. She has a hot water and lemon.
Amazing. Would she prefer TV, books, podcasts, or films?
She loves books.
What would her go-to takeaway be?
A Thai takeaway because she has that with Angie.
Oh, what would her special interest be in a pub quiz?
She does go to pub quiz and it is the literature round.
Amazing. What would her go-to excuse be to get out of something?
She has many excuses, but she wouldn't say the real reason, which is the CPTSD. She would say something like, I'm really tired from work.
Yeah.
What would she have thought the dress was blue and black or white and gold?
Blue and black always is the only correct answer.
Which element would she be most drawn to?
Air. So she can fly away from that issue.
Sweet or savory?
Sweet.
Early riser or night owl?
Early riser.
Window seat or aisle seat?
I'll see so she can get out as quickly as possible.
Spotify playlists or albums all the way through?
Playlists.
Shower in the morning or at night?
She showers at
Oh,
night.
nice one.
Just time.
Hey, that's time.
Ooh.
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Ooh.
I don't know where that ranks. but-
Neither do we, but we'll find
Find
out
out.
at some point.
And I also realised that my answer to multiple of those questions was so she can get out. So she can
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's
Bring
very
it far
valid for
away.
her, to be fair.
Yeah,
It makes sense.
honestly.
just give her a break.
Yeah,
Please,
she needs
please
one.
do.
Bless her.
Free her for real.
Okay,
Oh, that was so fun. Thank you. I
Oh,
love
I'm
that.
glad. So that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us, Charlotte. It's been so lovely to talk to you. And we will get you back for a Bridgerton episode. I think it'd be really fun.
Yeah.
I cannot wait. Can't wait.
Huge. You've seen.
Okay, Overspill is currently out now in hardback, audiobook, and ebook, and the paperback releases in a week's time from when this podcast is out. So order it online, request it at your local bookshop or library, and look into this heartbreaking but necessary story. Charlotte, where can people find you?
Oh, thank you so much. You can find me on Instagram at Charlotte Paradise and on TikTok at Charlotte Paradise Writes.
Amazing. And we are Baby Got Books Pod on TikTok and Instagram. If you liked this episode, don't forget to tell a friend, tell an enemy, tell your local optician and their angry receptionist, and rate us on your favorite podcast platform. We will be back next Thursday where we'll be discussing the difference between being bookish and a book lover, because there is a difference. Crystal is teaching us about it.
She is. Crystal just learned about herself, but let's look forward to that.
Okay, now to end these, we do a little harmonized by. Remotely, it's chaotic, but we're gonna give it a
Yeah.
go. There's no key. You just come in. So
What order do you want
we're
to say,
gonna go
Maestro?
me, Crystal, Annie, Charlotte.
Yes. Okay.
What's happening? I'm just going to start singing.
Just a little
Pretty
harmonized by. You
Okay.
get to go in
Okay,
last.
bye.
You can follow our lead. Okay. Until next time. Bye.
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 You guys are the